Good morning, children. Today also we'll continue with the third chapter, that is Plant Kingdom, in which we will be studying about gymnosperms. The word gymnosperms is formed of two terms, that is gymnos which means naked, and sperma which means seeds. The gymnosperms are plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed both before and after fertilization. They are perennial. Perennial means they live for several years, and woody, forming either bushes or trees. Bushes means it is a shrub or clump of shrubs with stem of moderate length. Gymnosperms include middle-sized trees or tall trees and shrubs. The giant redwood tree, sequoia, is one of the tallest tree, up to 100 meters. Species of Netum are woody climbers. The smallest gymnosperm is Zamia pygmea, which reaches a height of 25 centimeters. Stem may be unbranched like in cycas. There are no branches of the stem, so it is called unbranched. And branch means there are branches, as it is observed in Pinus. Roots are taproot. Taproot means there will be one main root, primary root will be there. From that the secondary roots will be developed. Okay. And then there will be root hair. Okay, this is called taproot system. So in gymnosperms, the taproot system is observed. Leaf may be simple or compound. Simple leaf means it is like this. The leaf is not divided into leaflets. Okay, if there are incision present, suppose like this. Okay, suppose this leaf is there, right? Incisions are present on the leaf, but the incision doesn't reach to the midrib. Such leaves are called simple leaf. Okay, now if the leaf is in such a way that the incision reaches the midrib, and due to that there is formation of leaflets. Such type of leaves are called the compound leaves. Okay, so in gymnosperms the leaves may be simple or it may be compound. They are heterosporous. In our last video I have explained you what is heterosporous. Hetero means different. Okay, so it produces two different types of spores which are haploid. The one is microspore and the other one is megaspore. Means the spores are, one spore is small in size and the other one is large in size. Okay, so microspore is small and megaspore is large. So they are heterosporous. Gymnosperms are heterosporous. They produce haploid microspore and megaspore in male and female strobili respectively. Okay, these are fruiting bodies. In that there are microspore in male strobilis. There is microspore produced, and in female strobilus the megaspore is produced. Again both are haploid. Now, male and female gametophytes do not have independent free living existence. They do not live freely. Okay, male and female gametophyte, they are present on the same plant. Pollination occurs through air. Pollination means transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. So it occurs through air. With the help of air, the pollen grains are transferred from anther to the stigma, and after the transfer of the gamete, there will be fertilization taking place, which results in formation of a diploid structure, which is called zygote. This zygote then develops into embryo, and the ovules develops into seeds. Examples are pines, cycas, cedrus, ginkgo, etc. Now, angiosperms. Angiosperms are seed-bearing plants. Gymnosperms also bear the seeds, but their seeds are naked seeds. Angiosperms are seed-bearing plants, or you can say they are flowering plants. And unlike gymnosperms, where the ovules are naked, in angiosperms the sporophylls are organized into flowers and the seeds are produced inside the fruits. Means here in angiosperms the seeds are covered by the fruit. They are covered inside the fruit. They are produced inside the fruit. Okay. Now, the smallest angiosperm is water plant called Wolffia, and tallest is Eucalyptus regnus. Then pollen grain and ovules are produced in the specialized structure which is called flower, and seeds are enclosed inside the fruits. Right, this also I have explained you just now. Now again, the leaves may be simple or compound, and angiosperms have vessels in xylem. They have vessels in xylem, and phloem contains sieve tubes and companion cells in regard to gymnosperms, which do not have companion cells. Further, angiosperms are classified into two, that is monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Let us see the differences between the monocotyledons and the dicotyledons. The first column is for monocotyledons, monocots, and the second is for dicots. Okay. If we talk of the difference between monocots and dicots, then monocots have single cotyledons. Cotyledons are the food storing structures, or it stores the reserve food material in the seeds. Okay, so monocotyledons have only one cotyledon, and dicotyledons have two cotyledons in it. When you break the seed, say for example gram seed, when you break the seed, you will find the two halves, right? So that flattened parts which you observe in the gram seeds are nothing but the cotyledons. Now monocots have parallel venation, whereas dicots have reticulate venation. Venation means arrangement of veins and veinlets in the leaves. Okay, so when we observe the monocot leaf, it is like this. In the monocot venation, the veins are parallel to the midrib. ठीक है, midrib क्या होता है? एक सेंटर में जो प्रोमिनेंट वेन होता है ना, दैट इज कॉल्ड द प्रोमिनेंट मीन्स जो बहुत अच्छे से दिखता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड द मिडरिप. तो मिडरिप के साथ जो वेन्स है, वेनलेट्स है, वो पैरेलल अगर है देन दैट इज कॉल्ड पैरेलल वेनेशन. And in reticulate venation, what happens? Suppose this is a leaf and this is the midrib. ये क्या है? Midrib. So from the midrib, the veins will arise, fine veins will arise, and from the fine veins, the veinlets will arise, small veinlets will arise, which will result in formation of a network-like structure. Okay, this is called reticulate venation. So in monocots, parallel venation is observed, and in dicots, it is reticulate venation. Monocots have fibrous root system, means they do not have the primary root. Okay, suppose this is the stem. So from the base of the stem only there will be many roots arising like this. So monocots have fibrous root system, whereas the dicots have the taproot system. Means first the main root will arise, from that the lateral roots will arise, and that lateral roots will have the root hair. This is taproot system. Clear? Then monocots have closed vascular bundle and dicots have open vascular bundle. Now closed vascular bundle means the xylem and phloem are arranged in the vascular bundles. Okay, so in the vascular bundles, xylem and phloem doesn't have the cambium. Okay, here xylem and phloem is present. Xylem and phloem in the vascular bundles. But in closed vascular system, there is no cambium present in between xylem and phloem. We will be studying this in detail in chapter number 6. Okay, so just now you just have to remember that closed vascular bundles means there is no cambium present in between the xylem and phloem, whereas in open vascular bundles, the xylem and phloem are present. Sorry, in between xylem and phloem, the cambium ring is present. Okay, cambium is present like this. It is the parenchymatous cells, right? Then in monocots, more number of vascular bundles are present and vascular bundles are scattered, whereas in dicotyledons, the less number of vascular bundles are present, which are arranged in rings. Okay, example of monocotyledons are banana, wheat, rice, and that of dicotyledons is gram, mango, apple, etc. Now, in angiosperms, double fertilization is observed. Okay, children, in 10th class you have already studied about double fertilization. Okay, what happens after the transfer of the pollen grain? Pollen grain contains 2 male gametes, right? So once the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma, there will be germination of pollen tube, which will help in transfer or carrying the 2 male gametes to the ovule. Okay, in the ovule there is 1 female gamete, right? So that one female gamete, which is called egg, it fuses with one of the male gamete. Okay, one of the male gamete will fuse with the egg and it will result in formation of zygote. Then zygote will undergo development and it will produce embryo, right? Then syngamy and other gametes fuse with 2 polar, right? 1 minute. This is called syngamy. And then the other male gamete, one male gamete fuses with egg, right? It fuses with egg, whereas and that process is called syngamy, whereas the second male gamete will fuse with the 2 polar nuclei, which will result in formation of endosperm. Now children, polar nuclei means there are 2 nuclei in the center cell, and there will be fusion of the nucleus of the male gamete, right? So 3 nuclei fuses, so it is called triple fusion. Okay, this also we will be learning in 12th class. Now, as fertilization takes place twice, one is the syngamy, where there is fusion of egg cell and the male gamete, and the second one is the fusion of male gamete and the 2 polar nuclei. So it is called the double fertilization. Double fertilization is observed in the angiosperms. Clear? Now moving to the last topic, that is alternation of generation. Life cycle of an organism has sequence of events that occurs from birth to death of an organism. In plants, both haploid and diploid cells can divide, and it divides by mitosis. Mitosis is the equational division, where the number of chromosomes in the plant body and in the daughter cells remains the same. Say for example, if the cell is haploid, okay, haploid means it has one set of chromosome, that is N. It divides by equational division, that is called mitosis. So the daughter cells which are produced will also have the N number of chromosomes, so it is called equational division. Similarly, if the parent cell is diploid, that is it has 2n number of chromosomes, then the daughter cells which are produced when it undergoes mitosis, it will also have 2n number of chromosomes, means it will have 2 sets of chromosomes. Clear? So in plants, both haploid and diploid cells can divide by mitosis. And because of this feature, there is formation of different plant bodies, that is either haploid plant body which has one set of chromosomes, or diploid plant body which has 2 sets of chromosomes. The haploid plant body produces gametes by mitosis process, again equational division, and this plant body is called the gametophyte. Okay. Once again, as the plant the haploid and diploid cells can divide by mitosis, there will be formation of different plant bodies, that is haploid and diploid plant bodies. The haploid plant body produces gametes by mitosis, and this plant body represents a gametophyte. Now the gametes which are produced will undergo fusion, that is fertilization takes place, and after fertilization zygote is produced, which is a diploid structure, and zygote divides by mitosis. It also divides by mitosis, that is equational division, because of which it produces a diploid sporophytic plant body. Okay, a diploid sporophytic plant body is produced from zygote. Why? Because it also undergoes mitosis, that is equational division, where the number of chromosomes in the parent cell and in the daughter cells remains the same. Now, this diploid sporophytic plant body produces haploid spores, and this haploid spores are produced by meiosis process. Meiosis is the reductional division. Okay, that means if the parent cell has 2n number of chromosomes, the daughter cells will have n number of chromosomes. The number of chromosomes will reduce to half. Okay, that is meiosis process or reductional division. So the diploid sporophytic plant body will undergo meiosis, and it will produce the haploid spores. These haploid spores in turn divide by mitosis, and it will produce the haploid plant body once again. Thus, during the life cycle of any sexually reproducing plant, there is an alternation of generation between gamete producing haploid gametophyte and spore producing diploid sporophyte. Okay. Now, different plant groups and individual have different features in their life cycles, like haplontic life cycle. The first one, the dominant photosynthetic phase is a gametophyte produced by haploid spores. You can see in the diagram the spores, okay, they will produce the dominant photosynthetic phase, that is the gametophyte phase, and the gametophyte produces the gametes. Gametes will be produced that will undergo fusion. Gametes are produced, that process is called gametogenesis. It will undergo fusion, that is syngamy will take place, which produces a zygote, which is a diploid structure. Okay, and the zygote represents the sporophytic generation. There is no free living sporophytes. Meiosis takes place in the zygote, which results in formation of the haploid spores, and this kind of life cycle is called haplontic life cycle. Many algae such as volvox, Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas represent this pattern of life cycle. Clear? Then the second is diplontic life cycle. In this type, the diploid sporophyte is the dominant. The multicellular diploid phase is called the sporophyte. The gametophytic phase is represented by a single to few celled haploid gametophyte. This kind of life cycle is termed as diplontic. All seed-bearing plants, gymnosperms and angiosperms follow this pattern of life cycle. Fucus, which is an algae, is diplontic. Then the third type is the haplodiplontic. In this type, there are two distinct multicellular phases. Diploid sporophyte and haploid gametophyte are present. Both the phases are multicellular. However, they differ in their different phases. Okay, the first one is a dominant independent photosynthetic thalloid or erect phase. Dominant independent photosynthetic thalloid or erect phase is represented by a haploid gametophyte. It alternates with the short-lived multicellular sporophyte, totally, partially or dependent on the gametophyte for its anchorage and nutrition. All the bryophytes represents this pattern. Then the second phase is, dominant phase is the diploid sporophyte, which is represented by dominant independent photosynthetic vascular plant body. It alternates with multicellular autotrophic independent but short-lived haploid gametophyte. And this life cycle is called haplodiplontic life cycle. All pteridophytes demonstrate this pattern. However, most algal genera are haplontic. Some of them, such as Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia and Kelps, are haplodiplontic. So in this diagram you can easily see here there is no free living sporophyte. Here the spores will directly produce the gametophyte and the gametes will be produced, right? So you can see the sporophyte stage is dominant. Here the gametophyte stage is dominant, okay, whereas here both are equally dominant, right? So this is haplontic life cycle, this is diplontic life cycle, and the last one is the haplodiplontic life cycle. Okay, so I hope the topic is clear to everyone, and that is all for today. With this, we have completed the third chapter. In our next video, we will be starting with the fourth chapter, that is new chapter, Animal Kingdom. Thank you.